Hey folks, Troy Dooley, the Beachside CEO and editor-in-chief over at talkgigs.news. Actually, they added an extra title this week. I just became co-publisher of Home Business Advertiser, soon to be Income Opportunity magazine. I'm excited about that. A lot of folks don't realize, I think, that it's not just about digital anymore. A lot of folks have gone back to print, and one of the things that I've been doing is writing articles for Bobby Schwartz over there at the magazine for 25 years, I think now. And we were friendly competitors back when he was with Cutting Edge and I was running Pro Step. And today we just love helping people. And with that magazine, I think we've got 32,000 subscribers to that we send out. And it's like, the whole industry is as a whole, we're seeing this giant morph into what we call the gig economy because so many people are in different parts. They're either in network marketing or affiliate marketing and all that. And it's just to me, it's so fun to look back at pre-COVID to today and see how many people, not just in America, but worldwide, has said, look, I'm going to take my future into my own hands. I'm not just going to rely on corporate America anymore. I'm going to do everything I can to leave a legacy for my family, and that's the important part. But hey, I want to get into the news. Blake Malins, great guy, now the Herbalife Chief Strategy Officer and President of Protocol. This is a man. This is a guy. Him and his family. When you look at their early humble beginnings of when he got into network marketing back when he was young, to him and his partners building Visalis. At one time, Visalis had 7% of the diet market, to becoming president of Prove It, to now becoming a top C-suite individual with the, I believe, second largest when we look at income revenues of any direct sales company, and leading the charge over there with their acquisition from LaCour Enterprises of Protocol. So hats off. As you guys know, Blake and them live out in California. They lost their home last year, so they're in the middle of rebuilding everything, not just their business life, but also their personal life. Blake is also the host of two phenomenal podcasts put on by Direct Selling News, so it's very powerful. Hey, Nature's Sunshine just appointed Heidi Weismiller to be the chairman of the board. I believe that and this is my opinion, but I believe this is awesome because so many of the network marketing companies are led by men, and yet 78, almost 80% are females in the business. And to have some women now rising in the ranks on the corporate side all the way to the top, I just think that's awesome right there. Advocare just appointed John Perino as president of integrated marketing. As you guys know, Advocare is a long, long time direct sales company, but they got out of network marketing a few years ago. They had a forensic accounting team come in. The daughters of the founders kind of looked at everything and said, "Look, we're going to go a different direction." Paid off their FTC fine, moved their affiliate from network marketing to an affiliate plan. But the company's still going strong. Their products speak for themselves. They were one of the first companies out there to be totally what I call a clean company, meaning their products could be used at high school, college, and professional level sports without any of their athletes testing with a negative substance. So it was a very powerful move on their part right there, I think. EXP Realty announced Felix Bravo is promoted to the managing director of international. Listen, EXP's coming on strong too. They just put out their first quarter uh, 2025 earnings report. It was slightly higher. Now, this is interesting. It was slightly higher. They did 954 million in sales. They did have an $11 million net loss. But this is the interesting stat that I took from their reporting. They did 89,643 real estate transactions. It was slightly down from the year before by 2%. However, the revenues off of that was up 4%. They did 38.5 billion in real estate. What this kind of shows me is that the real estate market is still kind of flatlined, but the pricing of the houses that are being sold is still higher than it was just a couple of years ago. So we're still seeing fluctuating in the real estate market. We'll see where that goes. Zenzino reports a 54% year over year revenue increase. They did 102 million January to April 2025. Part of this is the way their business model is. This is a European company run by people that were in the field, that run by networkers. And what they do is they go in and look for really good acquisitions and they buy the company and they just keep cranking and keep cranking. They're very unique. I'll put up at Talk News, I'll actually put a link to a interview that their CEO just did. That's pretty good interview. I think you'll find very intriguing with this. You can learn a lot. Look, let me actually say that real quick. A lot of people say, Troy, do these people pay you for your reporting? You know, how do you pick and choose your companies? We look for the companies each week that we can find press releases on. That could come from direct selling news. It can come from the companies themselves. It'll come from Market Watch if they're a public company. We look everywhere for these. And then we look for the positive reports. What can we find that can be beneficial for everyone, not just for these companies and for their reps to say, hey, look, we're getting some third party validation, but what can you learn? What can your company learn from these? And we try to do that in the news reporting. Obviously, there are some times during the week when I'll report where we get specific on what are legal actions or some interesting situations. And same thing, I want to be able to show something that you guys can learn. It's not about the personalities that are involved. It's not about the entities themselves most of the time. What it's about is what can we learn? It's about wisdom journalism, I guess you could say, because we want to be able to say, look, if this company or these people did something that caught regulators' eyes or it caught the critics' eyes, then what can we do to make sure that doesn't happen to you? Because that's the goal. If you're a startup, man, please don't just copy somebody else's business model or their paperwork. Get some experts in there. Get people that are advocates to be able to help you out. That's the key. Nature Sunshine. They saw in 2025 first quarter a 2% increase. They did 113 million. Gross profits. Now this is interesting. The gross profits here is 72.1%. And that's huge right there. And I don't know how to interpret that. I love it when a company's making great money. They're a public, well, they might not be public, they might be private, but it's great for the equity holders. But in the 21st century, then I got a question. Do you really do that good in your operations because you're that old that you've got your costs down, or are your products priced in a way that maybe you'd sell more if you brought that price down a little bit? Just something that I think about in some of this stuff. LifeVantage, third quarter 2025, they saw a 21% increase in revenues, up 58.4%. It's been fun. I remember when LifeVantage started and people didn't think they were gonna make it. And they've gone through a lot of crazy times over the years, different CEOs, different board members, lawsuits with their reps, but they have stayed true to their vision. And I think their board over there has really continued to move forward with what they're doing. The Real Brokerage Inc. first quarter 2025 looks like 354 million. They're up 76% year over year increase. That's pretty good right there. Uh, uh, Stenanica Graham, I may have to say that right. She just became head of athlete relations over at Super Patch Company. I've been watching Super Patch, and they truly are a unique company over there. I know a lot of people, you've got the quantum physics, a lot of frequency stuff, and a lot of different types of patches, but watching what those guys are doing, they've been just consistently growing in their patch business. I'll disclose that I've used some of their patches in the past. I found that some of them seem to work well for me, others not so much. I think it goes back to my belief that everybody's DNA is a little bit different. You can't just slap something on everybody and expect the same result. Doesn't matter if it's a partner co weight loss product or a body energy drink. It doesn't matter. Everybody's DNA is a little bit different. You're going to have a different way that it's going to react to you. New Skin 2025. Some of the bigger companies seeing interesting. They did 364 million. It's a 12.7% decrease year over year. So some of the younger companies we're seeing an increase. We're seeing an uptick. Some of the older companies we're seeing go down. Causeway now they're kind of been around for a while. They did 840 million. That's a 17% increase. They're more of an international company than a local play. Uh, Jose Viller over at Partner Code. He just came on as the Asia Pacific Regional Director of Field Development. So we're starting to see the Partner Code. There's another one. This is a company that started out as the old Tahitian Noni company. Then they started buying up a bunch of little companies, doing some stock moves and some debt plays, and the team that was in there, man, really my opinion, almost drove it to the verge of bankruptcy. And then the equity team got back involved and got rid of a lot of people, came back in, said, look, what can we do to bring cohesion to this? What can we do to get to work in tandem? And they came up with the name Partner Co. And that really has played into it well. All these old brands that they had that they've brought on, they've done some rebranding. They've really partnered with the field. The field's got some really good marketing platforms over there. They've got really good internal marketing. They do a lot of recognition. I know I just saw a new promo they're doing on a 28-day challenge on losing weight. And it's company wide and everybody gets excited. You can always learn from these companies. Even if your company doesn't do what they do, learn from them and say, hey, how can we build a cohesive unit? How can we make the DNA of the corporate team the same type of DNA in the field? Well, that's where some of these companies have rallied. Partner Co being one of those. Let's see what else are we going. The new Nuvia, which is the brand new company founded by Brian McMullen and Tim Housen, long-term partners. These guys have been best friends for years. They do a lot of stuff. A lot of you guys may not know the name, especially Tim. Tim kind of is behind the scenes more than anything, but these two have been advocates. Brian and I have been friends. I was running Pro Step at the time. Uh, I think they were buying about 1 million leads a month from us. They put one of the first online marketing funnels together. Back then, he was with Lifeforce, and they were rocking it. And since then, Brian has just become an advocate. He was a protege of Rod Cook, the MLM watchdog. Uh, Brian really is an advocate. He served on the board with me at the Distributor Rights Association, which you guys now know is the Association of Network Marketing Professionals. He's helped companies, he's helped reps, and this is the first time he's actually come out and they've said, look, we're just going to launch a company. And that was for some of the leaders over there at Modere. And they have already seen a company grow 10 they've got 10,000 that have joined this pre-launch of the company. They're still putting their comp plan together. I think they just put the comp plan together last week, if I remember right. I saw a Zoom come out on that. They've got their products that are coming into play that are supposed to release, I think, this week, one of their first products. I think it's going to be awesome. The question that I always ask when companies launch, especially when I see dear friends of mine launching these companies, dear friends that are in the field, is let's not forget where we came from. Let's forget that we got to bring in a partnership between the reps and the corporate office. And I know sometimes I'll get emails and people will say, Troy, this is a wrongful termination. And you go look and you realize, well, it probably wasn't a wrongful termination. It was a misguided individual that wasn't fulfilling the policies and procedures. At the same time, I'll read through the policies and procedures and it's like, why do companies create these policies and procedures this way? Because it's not really a partnership. It's almost like a slave trade type deal because the company makes all the decisions. And I've had that discussion in court, actually, as an expert witness, where judges couldn't understand. Wait a minute, you're telling me that even though this person has an LLC, that really the LLC has zero control of their money because the company controls? And I said, absolutely, Judge. That's That's the way it works. Read it right there, and he'll read through the policies and procedures and have to make decisions for people based on that. It's just disheartening. I think we're growing. We're still seeing a consolidation in the companies, and we're still seeing a consolidation even in the industry. But I do think what we're seeing is we're seeing this start to level out and play out a little bit. There's still some questions out there on some companies and what's going on. I keep hearing people ask me about Isogenics. Isogenics is a privately held company. A lot of times it's hard to get real information from those companies until they say something. We saw that with Modere. One minute they're having this great convention, the next minute they're saying we're shutting our doors. So it's going to happen. Public companies, it's easier to kind of get a grip on what's happening and what's going on there. So you guys stay tuned. Don't want to keep you. We're doing these once a week. Last week I missed. I was going to do it on Friday, and then we decided no, let's move it more to the middle of the week where more news is coming out, more people will actually see it and know what's going on. If you've got some information that you want to share, drop a comment, drop a DM, drop a link to the info. Put us on your news release. If you're with a company, you're part of the marketing team or PR team, you got good news coming out. Shoot it over to us. I'm not going to guarantee we can get everyone on one of the news reports, but we will try to get everything published over at talkgigs.news because we want to get that stuff out. Also, stay tuned. Like I said, I just became thanks to Bob Schwartz, the co-publisher of Home Business Advertiser. We're going to be changing that name on the 250th edition to Income Opportunity Magazine because we really want to promote all Main Street entrepreneurs. It doesn't matter what it is. Doesn't matter what you're marketing. We believe that it's that middle income worldwide. I don't care what country you're in. That's the backbone of the economy. And if you've got a business, we want to know about it. We're going to be promoting some businesses over at Talk Gigs. I've got a young lady that's starting an art and music studio to do uh, therapy for young children and teens and young adults that are coming out because the arts can help people so well. We really want to push into that and show what people are doing. Got some other great small businesses that are launching. Jeff Welch, one of my dear friends, a big time player for years in network marketing, has launched a homestead and now he's doing handmade wooden products that he's marketing. These are the kind of stories that we want to get out. So if you've got a story, get it over to us. If you're in a company and your guys' story's awesome, get it over to us. If you've got some information that you say, Troy, I think people need to be aware of this, send that in to us. That's probably going to be on a different podcast or news report. And we're going to look at what can we learn from this. We want to learn, not go judge. That's the difference between advocates and critics. Critics just find the negative in everything. A true advocate, an ambassador, if you will. Brett Matheny comes to mind, a big ambassador for network marketing. You look at all the good, the bad, the uglies, the big pimples, and you say, what can we learn from this? What can we peel back from this? How can we help other people not to fall into the mix and the problem? That's our key. So live well and finish strong. We'll see you on the next newscast.